Alrighty then, it's time for a Jungle Volibear game. Let's get the show on the road. Which one? So, Volibear just recently got buffed, and he's really strong. Mostly overbuffed in some areas, and they're likely gonna nerf him down a lot because that's what Riot does. That's what Riot always does. But there's one change to him that I'm absolutely adoring, and I hope they do not revert. And I learned about it in game. When I read it on the buff list, I just thought it was gonna affect minions. But when I used it on the enemy and it had an interesting effect, I was so hyped up. So I'm not gonna say what buff it is until I actually use it during a gank. And when I saw that, my mind was blown, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is what they meant." And it makes such a huge difference to basically Volibear in the future. Though it might not make him competitive, it will definitely make him a lot stronger. And I'll talk about it right now because it's about to happen. So I go to gank Swain, and as usual, he's really pushed out. So I'm going to start off by using my E on him, right? You know, E to slow him. But it knocks him up. And, you know, then I flip him, and sadly he gets he gets a kill on the gank, like I get the first blood. But I was surprised. I thought it would only do that on minions and monsters. And I thought it was probably just there so you can, you know, shove them away so you wouldn't get minion blocked as badly. But no, apparently you can knock the enemy up and around. That is a massive difference, alright? So, a while back when Xin Zhao got buffed, by the way, this Swain is just getting hand blasted, like poor him, right? A while back, Xin Zhao got buffed when they reworked him a little bit. They kept him mostly intact. They threw stats around on him, and then they gave him his W, which is essentially pound for pound about the same amount of damage he would do if he just stabbed people. But giving him the W, making him a pseudo AD caster, is a huge deal. Essentially, it gives him options. It gives him, let's say, combo potential of some sort. You don't necessarily have to just make yourself a rocket and go in and stab people. You can throw in your W there. You can poke at people. You can start off with that and then dash in or whatever, right? It gives you functionality. It gives you options of approach. And this gives Volibear a lot, even though it seems so simple. Alright, first off, the biggest boon of the fear itself, or well, not the fear, but the scream, is that it knocks him up, and it is an interrupt. That's big, because most of the time as Volibear, you're not really using your Q to interrupt, because if you do so, you often do it on the target you don't want to. And it tends to, you know, be on cooldown, because you're usually using it to actually close the gap. Alright, yeah, this Swain is just getting absolutely destroyed. And it's great, because now, you know, there's an enemy Katarina, you know, using her spinny shit, just scream at them. Master Yi in this game runs at me, and you know, normally my E wouldn't do anything to him. Just stop him in his place or something. You can actually do chain locking. You can actually chain lock somebody. You can scream at their face and knocks them up a little bit, and then you flip them. So that gives you an added amount of time to the amount of time that they're CC. That's actually pretty significant. You know, in consideration when you try to lock somebody down. You could theoretically flash E on somebody, which will give you enough time for them to be in the air, and then flip them. Because sometimes when you flash on somebody as Volibear, you see right there, it interrupted Lucian's dash. That's kind of what I mean. That's a huge deal. Sometimes in the past when you flashed as Volibear and you tried using your Q, you know, they'd just be a little bit too away from you. When you use your E, it gives you the seconds you need to close that gap and flip them. I cannot stress how big of a deal it is. And apparently if you flip somebody and then you use E as their midair or their midair for any reason, you deal bonus damage. So in essence, it has another approach to it. You can use your Q and then E for the bonus damage to kill somebody a little bit faster because you don't need that extra CC, you need the extra damage, right? Again, that's a big deal, sort of like Xin Zhao. It's the options flexibility kind of thing you can do to somebody. And I hope, because I'm pretty sure they're going to nerf him because he's doing a whole lot right now, that they keep that functionality. Because too, it also does one thing with, it helps alleviate one of his problems. It doesn't necessarily fix it, but it alleviates a problem that Volibear had. So similar as I was already saying with being able to close the gap with his Q just a little bit more because of the knockup buys you a few more seconds. It's it also buys you enough time to just basically keep someone locked in a little bit longer so you can slash at them with your ultimate or whatever. Because Volibear, believe it or not, has some of the highest damage for a bruiser. The problem has always been that he can't actually use that damage, so it doesn't matter. So having more personal lockdown allows you to at least inflict more damage, making sure you can actually use it. Again, that's a pretty damn big deal. And that small E change, I know it sounds weird that I'm gushing over it so much, but it's a huge deal. Plus, you know, the Q changes too make him basically a giant rocket bear, so that's kind of cool too. As you can see, this game's already going really badly for the enemy team, but unfortunately, in essence, it's pretty bad that 8 kills are allocated on me. I know I could have shared, and I was trying to share with my teammates, but it just happens that I had to bite somebody. By the way, that's really weird. The Twisted Fate, you know, stunned the Master G, and it kind of kept him, you know, his Q worked after he did it, so it wasn't like he avoided it. Just weird. Either way, you can replay that if you want. It was very weird what happened in the game. Plus, that you can see that the Swain is really salty. He's really cute in the game. But yeah, right now, even though there's 8 kills on me, it's a pretty even. I mean, even though it's 11-11, the enemy team technically has a better advantage because a more important character on their side is fed. 2 important characters, the Lucian and the Master E. Having all the kills on me isn't really that useful unless I can actually get to somebody important and destroy them with my bare hands. Like right here, technically, I do get on top of Lucian and do quite a bit of, well, do pop everything, but I could barely tickle him, you know, and then I get destroyed. So yeah, all those 8 kills don't really matter until I actually have items that I can bear upon the enemy, right? So it's looking kind of bad for my team. But nonetheless, again, you see that I've been able to use my E in different kind of ways. Sometimes I start off the fight using my E, knock people around, stop their dashes or their abilities, or interrupt their combos. Other times I just use it as I'm throwing somebody in the air for that extra damage, right? So, or the extra air hang time. It's just kind of, it's just so cool. I like these kinds of buffs because they allow the more inventive players to maximize the champion. Rather than just, you know, here's just some numbers and here's just something like that, right? So it's made me want to play Volibear a little bit more, although not, you know, he's probably gonna get nerfed, so it's not the biggest difference. Anyways, I just really like it. You're gonna see a little bit more how impactful it becomes because his Master E right now is pretty damn big, although he does really get shot in the face by Gangplank and die. You're gonna see that or you've already kind of seen some situations in this game have transpired in which Volibear or past Volibear with his older E wouldn't have actually been able to do anything about. Namely stopping a Master E or stopping people from escaping and that kind of thing. Again, I'm gushing over it, but it's a huge deal. And for a player like me who likes to play either bodyguards or tanks or bruisers, just having this kind of thing is a big deal. Now, a little while ago, I also went ahead and said, you know, that Maokai had replaced Volibear as the de facto best jungle bodyguard in the game, or even bodyguard period. I think Volibear, if he keeps this change on his E, might be taking that title back. Just the fact that you can actually interrupt people now on a relatively okay cooldown, AoE wise. Katarina jumps your carry, bam, just knock her up and then flip her over or something. You know, a bunch of people jump on them, flip them all, you know, scare them up. I mean, scare them into the air or something. And then, you know, that kind of stuff. It's big deal. Big deal, guys. So, yeah, Volibear is a sort of champion pick, can actually be considered for champion team compositions. Again, though, competitive wise, I don't know if he can actually make a big deal. Sort of like Xin Zhao, he was really strong in, you know, solo queue, but nobody bothered it to pick him in competitive really because he's Xin Zhao. But again, it's just I have high hopes that this is gonna make him at least more relevant. And not to say that he might not still require an actual rework because his kit is overall pretty kind of meh. But damn, I love it. As you can see though, this game is pretty even throughout. 24 to 22 kills are still on me, but thankfully some of my teammates are starting to get better kills. Or, you know, starting to get the kills allotted on the right targets. Too bad, though, that even though I figured out how to make all chat work, it still doesn't have team chat. Because you would see some really angry Braum, you know, chat. A really angry Braum yelling at my teammates right now. Either way, Volibear still faces the issue in which you can't have him as your sole initiator. Because it's very predictable. And you kind of have to sneak up on people to do it. Maybe with the fact that there are less wards around in the game, you know, you can probably do it. But overall, if I didn't have Predator, if I didn't have Grasp of the Undying, I mean, if I didn't have Righteous Glory and just all the speed boosts, I wouldn't be able to get away with all these shenanigans. By the way, that's what I meant. Master Yi, even when he had his ultimate up, I just knocked him into the air and stopped his whole shenanigans, and then my team piled on him with all the CC and whatnot. Here the Swain just completely fucks up and brings me to him, which allows me to flip him over to my teammates and kill him and giving us an ace. So Swain, if you're watching this, that was stupid. So yeah, again, that Master Yi being stopped by my E is a big deal, and it should be a point of reference to any other champions who could do something like that to your teammates. You could just stop them and then flip them or murder them right then and there. Because Volibear, aside from his Q in the past, kind of was doing nothing. Again, right here, Echo gets killed. I believe Master Yi comes running in, and once more, you know, flippity, shitty, and whatever. In the past, Volibear would have been able to do 0 here. But, it's so nice being able to actually do stuff. You know, I come in like a goddamn rocket, just kind of casually, I don't know, roar or like scream profanities at Lucian and kill him. And then the rest of the enemy just sort of gets, you know, chased down. And I mess up my Q there. But yeah, it was pretty cool. In the past, Volibear's fear, or I mean, his E worked as a sort of bodyguard mechanism because you would rank it up at first and it would be pretty strong and spammable. So you just constantly have this like quasi-aura of slow around you that you would spam, and then, you know, if the enemy stayed too long next to you because they were trying to kill your homie, you would do a lot of damage. So technically that's how Volibear worked in the past as a bodyguard. But now with the knockup, it's so much beautiful. I know, just talking so much about it, but I love it. And in this game, you can already see, now that the love has been spread rather than all concentrated on me, the enemy team is basically falling apart. They can't really deal with us. We have a lot of crowd control. They have some crowd control too, but ours is a lot more, you know, how would you say, flexible than theirs. And a lot, you know, well, a lot better to use in the midst of a team fight. Because like Morgana, her stuff is just going to get caught by somebody. And they're pretty dysfunctional, so that's working well for us too. Plus, me being so goddamn fat allows me to kind of work as a murder machine too. I am going to say that if I wasn't so fed, I probably would be far less potent, obviously, and my team might have been suffering more. But because I'm so big, I get to do really dumb things and get away with it. So yeah, we catch Echo, he gets CC locked, and my E was part of that CC lock. And thanks to that, we're basically able to take these towers with no contest. You know, the enemy team is playing it super safe, where they're taking pop shots. It doesn't matter because, you know, we're really fat. We have Baron, and then we're just kind of wailing at these towers. Master Yi has to pop his ultimate to survive, and then dies anyways. Gets exhausted too. And yeah, it's essentially this game is a done deal. It was a rampage. We started losing it because all the kills were concentrated on me, but then the enemy team started losing focus, and we brought it back as more and more of my teammates got bigger and fatter. Or more fed, I mean. Fetter? What the hell is that in English? But yeah, I love these kinds of buffs, and I hope Riot does more of these buffs rather than, you know, the usual overbuffing they do. And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.